Today I'm wrapping up another shop project, and yes, it is another workbench, but it should be my last for a while because quite frankly, I don't have any more room for any more. It's the one over my left shoulder, and it is what I plan to be my main project workbench. It's a little bit of steel, a lot of plywood, and it includes that laminated bench top that you saw me make a couple of months ago. So let me show you how I built it, and then I will talk about some of the other stuff I plan on doing in the shop. The drawer cabinets on this workbench are going to be built in the exact same way as I built the drawer cabinets on my other workbench, where I had 3 cabinets full of drawers. Super simple, just 2 sides, a top and a bottom, and I'm going to be joining them with pocket hole screws, glue, and some nails just to hold them together while I'm doing it. The backs will get sheet metal, and then the fronts will get filled in with drawers. If you saw my last workbench video, you will notice the construction on this is almost completely identical. I'm using pocket hole screws and just simple butt joints for everything. Nothing is fancy, but this is a shop and I think it will serve its purpose pretty well. Over the years, I've built lots of utility type items using these basic methods, and I've never really had anything fail, even in our extreme Arizona heat. But if I was hired to do this project for somebody, I would probably use lap joints or box joints for the drawers, or something a bit fancier. The metal on the back of these cabinets is to give shear strength as well as seal off the back sides from mice or anything else that might be trying to get in. There's a lot of benefits to facing drawer fronts like this. You could certainly leave the drawers just as they are and they would function just fine, but the big gaps would allow for mice and dust and different things to get in there, so drawer fronts help to tighten it up. It's an easy way to make it look nice and clean, as well as you can cover up any mistakes with your drawers, because so long as these are all even and cut the same, it will look like they are all identical. One of my goals for this project was to have a very heavy duty and solid work surface that I could eventually mount a vise to, and that would be able to take years of abuse without failing, so a steel frame kind of seemed natural, as well as the fact I tend to collect a lot of scrap pieces of steel every time I go to industrial metal, so almost all of these pieces I actually had on hand. I made the drawer pulls for this build exactly the same way as I made the pulls for the other workbench build, just 1/2-inch tubing welded together, and I was able to make about 25 drawer pulls for about $8 worth of tubing. This is a jig. and it's going to help us put the drawer handles on nice and even. Daddy just used scraps of wood and it's keeping the handle right in the center of the drawer. You want to put one screw in?
Where should I put it?
Right in that hole.
This one?
Uh-huh. Okay. Now it's going to get kind of loud. If you're wondering about this laminated workbench top, I will post a link, as that was a separate project video I did a couple of months ago. So that's how it went together. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I like the incorporation of steel because I really want this thing to be very stout, and the cabinets down below, because they're plywood and they're plenty strong enough, I still just wanted an extra, I guess, structure for me to really pound on something or whatever. One thing you will notice is that at the end of that workbench, I took that board off and I added 3 strips of plywood and then a little aluminum trough or tray. And I did that so that I could give myself just a little more work surface as well as a functional space behind, because when I built it before, as you may remember if you saw that video, pretty much everything in the shop I'm trying to keep very thin and very narrow so as to keep room to be able to move around and roll stuff around. But then I started looking at the space and I figured I could add 3 inches or so and then also have a little trough that would be kind of useful too. So what about the other stuff over to the right? Before I talk about the shelving, I did also want to point out that when I was doing those drawers, I decided to make some extra handles and put drawers underneath this workbench. Some of you may remember this was my folding workbench where these legs all slide towards the wall. But I started really thinking about it, and that was kind of a novelty. It was just something I wanted to try. But this is just pretty much going to be a permanent workbench with stuff mounted on it. But anyway, I just added these drawers down below to hold stuff and just give me a little bit of extra usefulness. Last but not least, I am finally getting some shelves put up here. I'm still debating whether I'm going to do a video on it just because they're just super basic. What you see right here is not the finished result. I will either face frame these or I will make some sort of doors on them. I just don't know if I want to do that. I want to keep dust out of them, but I also don't want to have the hassle of opening something up to get something out of them. So anyway, that is maybe a look at what is coming. I will probably do something similar on this side, but much more shallow. So that's pretty much it. I'm losing light and I wanted to get out of the echo of the shop. But speaking back to those shelves, I'm hoping that adding the shelves and other wall kind of things will help the shop to be a little less echoey so I can do more stuff directly in there as far as the talking or explaining something portions. If that doesn't help, then maybe I'll put like something to absorb the echo within the shop. And I have no doubt as I get stuff mounted and placed on the walls, it should help with that. But that is pretty much it for the shop. And to those of you who think I say pretty much too often, and I guess pretty much that's the way it is. But I will be getting to some more of those outdoor rainwater harvesting, gardening kind of things soon. I know I said that in my update and then you see me doing a couple of shop videos right away, but I am just trying to get this done and functional so that I can get onto other stuff. So as always, give it a thumbs up if you like this. Check me out on Instagram and we will see you guys next time.